Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, October 10th, 2022. I would like to call to order the regular board meeting of the Othello School District Board of Directors. We will begin tonight with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'd like to welcome all our guests. ¿Habrá necesidad de traducción al español en esta noche? I don't see the need. Thank you for being here, Carmela. We'd like to welcome all our guests, those of you here in the boardroom. Thank you for joining us tonight. Those of you online, thank you as well for taking time out of your busy schedules to watch us conduct our meeting tonight. We always appreciate that. I would like to entertain a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda.
I move we approve tonight's agenda.
Motion's been made. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Director Prowse is not with us tonight. Moving on to item B1. Do we have any public comment? Maggie, no public comment. I'd like to remind the public there is a venue, even for those of you that are online. If you'd like to, we like public comment at our meetings, so feel free to do so. Moving on to item B2, board member discussion. Do we have a ledge report, Director Stevenson?
We do. After General Assembly that WASDA had, we need to put our priorities in place for what we think and vote on those with other school districts across the state so that WASDA can prioritize the top 3 and then move forward with that in the next legislative session. So those are due on Wednesday, the 12th.
So I know I sat through Friday. I was not able to do it Saturday at the voting.
Okay. I think there was only 2 votes on Saturday.
Everything, was pretty smooth up until like
the end.
The last one of the day. I forget the 61. It might have been 62. I forget. But anyway, it got a lot of back and forth. Contested vote, clarification on if they could redo it. Then they did a weighted, they did this and that. And there was the debate portion of it was very interesting. The for and against, the verbiage coming out where apparently WASDA didn't see it necessary that parent involvement be part.
No, that's not entirely correct. WASDA already has a policy that has parent involvement as a stakeholder for their students. And so that was what the big discussion was. Well, it's already in there. Does it count? Well, if we vote against this, then it's going to look like WASDA doesn't care.
Well, they were voting on a new set of a new verbiage that Shipley from Walla Walla was very adamant. He felt it needed to be there, but in the end, it didn't happen.
Right.
But that was one of the more contested ones. Everything else went pretty smooth. I mean, there was some for and against, but it was almost like, to me, it was like where you lived determined, your opposition for it or against it. So it was interesting. So no, I know it was mentioned that we need to get our priorities or our top, I think they said 5, if I'm not mistaken. They wanted us to
They just want to, I'm not sure what the exact number is. And so we need to decide, the 4 of us, how we're going to decide and do that. Do we want to send that to Marissa? And then, because we can't really, outside of a meeting, communicate that with each other. And then.
I think we go over the booklet or the manual that was given to us. And then we got to pick from those things, right?
Right. So the ones that passed.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that we need to. Marissa, do you have access to the things that passed? I'm sure it's on WASDA's website. Do you need me to find it and forward it to you for you to forward out to us? And then if we all, should we say like noon on Wednesday, 2 p.m. on Wednesday? Because then you could kind of synthesize, do you want to vote it in? Do you want me to vote it in? I don't know if you have. I don't know if you can, is my only concern.
You'd have to vote those in or
Okay.
notify them of it. But if you could get those to us.
Okay.
And give us a hard deadline so we don't forget.
Okay, I'll get the link tonight to Marissa so she can forward
Okay.
it out. And then by, are we saying noon?
Noon on Wednesday,
On Wednesday,
we need a reply.
vote. And then it'll also say in the link and the email, I'll find how many we vote on.
Yeah.
There are, so one of the things that the legislative session, legislative committee and the resolutions committee, I'm on the resolutions committee, tried to consolidate a bunch of ones because they're highly important, but because there's like, it's broken down into 3 or 5 different subsections, they don't raise to the top. Like, I was on a team of, there was, I think, 4 or 5 of us across the state about technology, access to technology, internet speed, and how having access to internet is a priority for education and the students as well, and those kinds of things. So they took like a bunch of them, and I was the only rural district that was on it. There were other small and large school districts, and so I was like, shared the perspective of living here.
Yeah.
And so that tweaked some of the language and stuff, and so like those are things that they are starting to realize when you have, I think there used to be like 78 legislative priorities, and you tried to pick 5 or 10 of those and narrow it down to 3, that's not effective. So I thought that was a great idea.
Okay. Yeah, if you could get those to us, Marissa, we'll make sure we get them to Jen so she can reply as to what our
Okay.
most
I
important.
may need the voting credentials, which
I'll-
I passed off to
I'll
you,
get
so
that
I may need
email
you to,
back to you.
thank you. That was the only legislative report.
All right, we also have the Hiawatha visit there. I'd like to remind myself as well that it's been changed to Monday. There is a tentative or a schedule there. It will begin at 8:45 on Monday. Okay. Moving on to item B3, student representative report. Elise.
Good evening. I was going to say morning, but it's definitely not morning. So I don't really have a report about any of the schools, but I don't know if either of you guys saw, I recorded a video for General Assembly. So I did that. And then Superintendent Rakedale had a press conference for, let me try and say this right, altering or making it so that Running Star, college and the high school, all those types of programs, AP classes, have less fees. And so I had the opportunity, along with one other, not student rep, but a student that works with a bunch of legislative people, to speak at his press conference. And I was also a part of the press release. If anyone's interested in that, I can send a video.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All of us.
And then on Facebook, I posted it, but I can share it as well. And then I'm also working on a project for WASDA's annual conference. I'll be speaking on the main stage one of the days. So
Woohoo!
that's my report.
Yeah, good job. I did watch that video. You did well. Thank you. That was nice to see. Moving on to item C1, I'll entertain a motion for required approvals if there are no questions.
I just have one.
Okay.
We have capital projects funding for $185,000. Can we just get the details on that? If the microphone will work.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, that was for an invoice that we received for materials for the repairs at McFarland's roof.
Oh, wonderful.
So it's partially done, and once it's completed, we will seek reimbursement from OSPI for.
With that grant that
With the
you've
grant
already
that we
been
received.
approved.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yay. I would like to move, we approve the required approvals.
Can I get a second?
I will second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
I
I-
move we approve accounts payable warrants 2.
I second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed?
And I will abstain from that vote.
Motion carries 3-0 with one abstention. Moving on to item C3, Superintendent Informational item.
Yes, at the last board meeting, there was a discussion about the potential for adjusting board meeting dates to allow more opportunities for linkage between the school district, the school board specifically, and the Othello City Council. So we committed to providing some information to the board to consider some options or possibilities for adjusting our meeting dates and/or times. So what you have in front of you is a simple spreadsheet. We looked at 10 neighboring districts. The districts are identified in that first column, the day of the week that they meet, and then the times that they meet. Some notes that were maybe individual to each of those districts are also provided. So just a real simple graphic to provide you some information. I don't believe the intent of this evening's discussion is to make a determination. It's just to provide the information to the board. I also had committed last time we met to providing some options, and certainly there are many more available, but I threw out 3 options down below, listed below our current practice. And so I guess we're looking for some direction if this should be a board member discussion item the next time that we gather. Do you want me to bring some additional data? Just wanted some additional guidance and making sure that this met the request that was given by the board.
So I wasn't able to attend the last meeting, but I did watch it not by Zoom. I watched it on YouTube later, and the one thing that I think that was a big discussion was, oh, I think that they meet at this time. Oh, I think that they meet at this time. And nobody could say when exactly city council met. And so I think that we need to know that for sure, and which ones are workshops before we have a conversation at
Their
our next meeting.
workshop is the first Monday of the month.
Okay,
Council meetings are the second and fourth Mondays of the month.
but what times was the key thing?
6 p.m.
Okay, so they meet at 6.
according to the othellowa.gov, the Othello website.
Okay.
Yes.
At
I
6
think
p.m.
it's going to be really hard to get here at 5 for me. I mean, everybody else might be able to, but 5 is really hard. If that is any of you 3, I don't know. It might be better for all of you.
5 wouldn't be a problem for me, but I do think 5 would be harder for many members of our community. I know that you had a conversation, and I don't think that we should discuss, I mean, we can discuss it, but I don't think we should make a decision without all 5 of us being present.
No, no.
But,
Student participation, which I think we're working on trying to get more of, would be very difficult at 5 o'clock. Sports aren't even out at that time.
if on Monday. So another option here is Tuesdays, both at 5 and 7. So 5 would be the same problem with sports. Are there games on Tuesdays?
There are middle school games primarily on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think with the shortage of officials and whatnot. And also to offset from some of the high school activities that might take place on Fridays and Saturdays related to busing. I think we're going to find that there are going to be conflicts with different constituencies regardless of the time that is selected. We were trying to provide information that allowed us to improve linkage with the city council. So again, it was just informational. We'll look for more direction from the board and perhaps a conversation with Mike about whether or not we want it on board member discussions, at least for the next meeting. And then see
I
what-
believe so, and I think what we can do in the meantime, if there's any other ideas that might suit our schedules that we think might work for all of us, maybe bring those the next time we meet.
So I know that the last board meeting discussed you don't want to go later. My thought is 7:30. Because that would give an hour and a half for those, and city council has their meetings with public comment at the beginning. And so if one of us wanted to do public comment, there's still time, even if we kept it at 7, to go and do public comment at 6, still make it here in time. If we wanted to be present for an entire city council meeting, and we started at, or someone else, and we started at 7:30, our meetings are much shorter than they once were.
But my hope would be that eventually we can possibly get some city council members to our meetings too,
Oh, yeah.
which that would be a conflict that
And,
time.
and the only feedback I received from the community about this item was consistent with what Ken just shared, and that's even for community members who have an interest in our work and the city's work, attending both meetings on the same night is impossible for them as well. If they wanted to sit through an entire city council meeting, apart from the opportunity to provide public comment, they'd have to leave by 7 or before 7 to get over here for our meeting. So the one individual who provided feedback said that they would encourage us to consider a different day than the city council meetings. They didn't make any comment about time.
I know that all the park and recs, everything's Tuesday, Thursday for all the little kids. So if you wanted to have more parent participation, some of those are staff members, you wouldn't have them either at anything too much earlier. And on Tuesday, I don't know, I mean, it may be something you can change, and if it doesn't work, change it back. I don't know. Take a trial run.
Well,
I think just add it to the next one.
we'll add it to the next
Yeah.
meeting, Pete, for
Okay.
board member
Yep.
discussion. And if you come up with some other options that you think are worth mentioning, include those in the document as well.
All right, thank you. The next item, there's a DOP, a procedure that we've listed there for you, a new procedure. Tim Taft did the work around this content that's from the WASDA model policies, but we wanted the board to be aware of a new procedure in our district related to student health.
What I very much appreciated is that chart right there, to know the difference between a high and an overdose. I had no idea. And honestly, myself, I would find this to be able to tell the difference, because I wouldn't know. I'd be able to remember, oh, we have a policy, I can find that fast, as opposed to searching online and not quite sure I trust the accuracy and other things like that. I think that was very, very beneficial to include. So thank you.
Great work.
Those were the only two items for this evening's meeting.
All right, thank you for that, Pete. Moving on to item F1, upcoming events, patron tours. Have those filled up?
They're certainly not filled up, but we do have some individuals who have expressed an interest. I was speaking with the Director of Communications, Ed Peterson, just prior to the meeting. We're going to make some individual calls tomorrow and to see if we can generate some more attention around that. But the change we made for these tours, last time we targeted a specific audience. This time we decided to open it up to see what the interest might be. So we'll give it a go. If only 1, 2, or 3 people show up, it'll be a small, more intimate setting. And then we'll decide maybe we should be more targeted the next time that we offer them. But we are going to give it a go.
Do you think that the biggest complication is the time, that how long it takes, or the day of the week, or?
I think it might be good to talk with some of the folks that do show up for the tour. But it's a challenge to make sure that they can see our students in action, see our staff in action, see the facilities being used. So, again, it might be a targeted strategy is more appropriate, but it's new for all of us. So I think it's important that we cast a wide net and see what happens.
Great ideas.
Very good. All right, moving on, we have a calendar of upcoming events. The visit and our next regular board meeting on the 24th. Item F2 is the board self-assessment at this meeting. Well-planned agenda, efficient use of our time.
Missing people, I mean, we can't always control schedules and such, but I had a pre-meeting with our student rep, and that took longer than this meeting. That's awesome. Which was wonderful.
I think although a short meeting, we had balanced participation, so I appreciated that.
Kind of on the subject, but off the subject. The update that we had on Friday or over the weekend with all the pictures, it being homecoming week, it was very impressive and very heartfelt to see all the employees that we have that graduated from Old Fellow High School here. How all those people have come back to our community to better our community and work with our kids. That was really impressive to see all those.
I think special recognition to Elise for her involvement in state level activities and taking that role seriously. So, we didn't do student or staff recognition tonight, but I think it's important to acknowledge that Elise being able to share her activities as a advocate for student voice is pretty cool for us to be shared across the state.
I like that she gave us the exact times on the video. That helped. All right, guys, I think we had a great meeting. The board will recess into executive session for 30 minutes to discuss the performance of a public employee per RCW 42.30.110 1G. No action will be taken following the executive session. We will recess for 2 minutes and reconvene at 7:23. Thank you.